Hi, my name is Kayla Heflin, and this is my informative speech on psychological profiling of a serial killer. Do you really know your neighbor? Is the thought of a serial killer living next door a plot in a movie? Well, the truth is, serial killers are as normal looking as you and me. The definition of a serial killer is one who kills 3 or more people within a period of more than 30 days, with a cooling off period between each murder. A type of tool that the investigators use to help understand and identify serial killers is called psychological profiling. Psychological profiling is the investigation of an offender's behavior, motives, and backgrounds of a previous criminal to help understand a serial killer that they're trying to seek out today. Most statistics show that most serial killers are white males between the age of 25 to 35 that come from an abusive family, are often high intelligence, and they are physically abused psychologically and as well sexually by family members. About 60% of all serial killers are bedwetters beyond the age of 12. They also have done arson and torturing of small animals. Serial killers can also be divided into 4 main groups. The first one is the visionary motive type, the mission-orientated type, the hedonistic type, and the power-controlling orientated type. The first one that I want to talk about is the visionary motive type. These are typically the psychotic killers that hear voices and see visions to tell them to do the murders. My example is Herbert Mollen. He started killing in 1972. He was a normal child, did good in school, up until after high school when his best friend actually died in a car wreck. That accident actually shifted his personality completely. He started hearing voices after that to kill. And he started killing. We later found out that the voices in his head told him that to stop a catastrophic earthquake from destroying California, he had to kill everybody. The second type is the mission-orientated type. They are the ones that are on a mission to get rid of people that are immoral or unworthy. They are considered the cleanup killers. My example is Joseph Franklin. He started killing in 1977. He was a former Ku Klux Klan member. He believed that interracial marriage was against God's belief, so he started killing for racial motivation. He killed what we believed up to be 17 people, 3 being interracial couples, 7 being black men and boys, 3 being hitchhikers, and 1 being a Jewish man. The third group that I want to talk about is the hedonistic killers. They typically kill for some kind of gain, whether it be financial or sexual. There are 3 subtypes for that. The comfort killers, which are typically killers for money, business, any type of gain. The second type is a lust killer. They're typically sexually orientated killers, such as Ted Bundy. And the third type is a thriller killer. They typically kill for the fun and the joy of seeing their victims in pain. Most hedonistic types can be divided into 2 categories. That is the organized and non-social killers, which my example is Ted Bundy, and the disorganized asocial killers, which my example is Jeffrey Dahmer. An organized non-social killer typically have a high IQ. They're socially adequate. They have a very well-groomed outlook, hygiene. They're easily approachable. Ted Bundy approached a lot of his women saying that he wanted them to come back to his car, and that's typically where he grabbed them. Most organized killers will take the body from one place and then dump it in another place. They typically do not come from abusive father figures. They return to the crime scene, call the cops, and play games with them. They typically leave very little physical evidence at a crime scene. They are married or dating, so they do have a social life. The disorganized asocial killers, which is Jeffrey Dahmer, have a very low IQ. They're socially inadequate. They're a loner. They typically will kill and leave the body at the same place. They're considered using crowbars or anything that's accessible at that point to kill their victims. They typically leave a lot of evidence and chaos at the crime scene. They typically have hiding places within their home that they hide objects or other things in there. My last one is the power control orientated type. They enjoy the life and death control of things, typically doctors or nurses. My example is Harold Shipman. He was a killer between 1975 and 1996. He was an English doctor who had a lot of patients die of natural causes, and they later figured out that he had been killing them. We believe that it was up to 215 patients that he had murdered. The feeling of a god complex is how they describe him. Most serial killers are unique, and classifying them into these categories is difficult, and that's why psychological profiling is not an exact science, but is something just to help them understand and eventually hopefully help serial killers before they get to the point of killing. Like I said, only 1% are actually psychotic and have mental problems, and therefore, you know, your neighbor or somebody that seems normal could be, you know, a serial killer, and that's why it is very hard for people to understand after somebody is convicted of convicted of a serial killer crime, to understand that this nice, clean-cut person could actually have done that. But that's why psychological profiling is important, because we can't just go off of our instincts of seeing a clean-cut person or a non-clean-cut person to decide whether they are a killer. Again, this is my psychological profiling speech for informative speech. My name is Kayla Heflin. Thank you.